Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep today into a role that's really critical behind the scenes in healthcare, the medical billing supervisor.
Absolutely. And we've got this great source material, an article outlining the top interview questions for this exact position.
Right, so it gives us a kind of shortcut, doesn't it, into what skills and knowledge are really, really essential, what the experts are looking for.
Exactly. Think of these questions and the answers they suggest. Well, it's like a blueprint. We're going to use it to highlight the core parts of the job.
Yeah.
What makes someone really stand out.
Yeah, and give you, the listener, a pretty quick but thorough understanding of this, let's be honest, pretty complex area.
Mm,
So whether you're involved in hiring, or maybe you're thinking of applying for this kind of role, or maybe you're just curious about how healthcare finances actually work.
how providers get paid.
Yeah, exactly. This deep dive, well, it should give you some really valuable insights pretty quickly. So let's jump in. What are these key areas the source points to?
Okay, so the article basically breaks it down using 6 core interview questions. They really get to the heart of what makes a good medical billing supervisor.
Makes sense. So question number 1. The article flags this one first, and it seems foundational. Can you describe your experience with medical billing software and systems? Why start there?
Well, because pretty much everything else in billing flows from the technology, right?
Mhm.
The suggested answer in the article, it really stresses needing experience with a variety of systems,
A variety, not just one specific program.
right? It's not just about mastering one thing. It's about showing you're comfortable with different setups, electronic systems, obviously, but maybe even some paper processes if they're still around.
Okay.
And it mentions knowing the coding and the regulations linked to that tech, for accuracy, for getting things done on time.
Yeah.
And interestingly, it also points to being able to troubleshoot.
Troubleshoot the systems themselves.
Yeah, fix problems when they pop up within the software or the process.
Huh. That's interesting. So it's less about just rattling off a list of software names
Definitely.
and more about showing you get the whole picture, the ecosystem, and you can actually solve tech problems when they happen. Kind of tech fluency plus practical smarts.
You got it. That's a good way to put it. Okay, so once the tech piece is covered, the article moves to another really critical area, dealing with problems.
Mm.
The second question is, how do you handle denied or rejected claims?
Denials. I bet that's a major pain point. Directly hits the money coming in, right?
A huge headache,
Yeah.
and yeah, a direct hit to revenue. How well a supervisor handles these denials, it's like a direct measure of their value, their contribution to the clinic or hospital's financial health.
So what's the approach the article suggests?
It's sort of multi-step.
Yeah.
First, you got to do a thorough review of the claim and the specific reason it was denied, really understand the why.
Not just see denied.
Exactly. Then it's about teamwork, working with the billing team, and this is key, working with the medical staff too, to get any missing info or documents needed to resubmit it.
Okay, makes sense. Collaboration.
But here's where it gets more strategic. The article highlights that dealing with a denial is also a chance to spot systemic issues.
Systemic issues like patterns.
Yeah, like why are these denials happening in the first place? And then figuring out solutions to stop them from happening over and over again.
Wow. Okay, so that turns it from just like fixing one mistake into being an analyst, spotting trends, improving the whole process based on what went wrong. That's pretty proactive, not just reactive fixing.
It's a big difference. And that kind of proactive mindset, it really needs ongoing learning, which leads nicely into the third question the article raises. How do you stay current with changes in medical billing regulations and codes?
Yeah, I can imagine this field doesn't stand still. Rules must change all the time.
Constantly. Regulations change, codes get updated, sometimes significantly,
Yeah.
and your billing accuracy just completely depends on being up to the minute.
So how do they suggest staying current? What are the methods?
The article lists a few key things. Things like attending industry conferences, workshops, yeah, the usual professional development stuff.
Right.
Reading relevant publications, journals, websites, doing continuing education courses, and importantly, staying in touch, communicating regularly with other professionals in the field, networking.
That's interesting. They include networking alongside formal education. It sort of suggests that those informal chats, hearing how others are dealing with a new rule,
Yeah.
that can be just as vital as reading the official update. It really paints a picture of a job that demands you stay plugged in, constantly learning.
It's definitely about building that knowledge network. Okay, so since it's a supervisor role, the people management side is obviously huge. Question 4 hits that directly. Can you describe your experience managing and training a team?
Right. This is where you get into leadership capability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the article's guidance here is about looking for someone with, several years of solid experience, especially someone who has a history of building and leading teams that perform really well.
High-performing teams. What does that mean in this context?
Well, the article specifically mentions consistently exceeding performance goals. So maybe that's achieving a higher clean claim rate, faster payment cycles, lower denial rates, things like that, tangible results.
Got it.
And it also stresses the ability to figure out team members' strengths and weaknesses and then provide the right kind of training and resources to help them improve.
So coaching and development.
And one more piece, experience in actually implementing process improvements. Changes within the team to make things run smoother, more efficiently, boost productivity.
Okay, so they're digging deeper than just can you manage people. They want to know if you can actually develop your team, make the whole operation better, and hit those key performance metrics. Leadership that actually moves the needle.
Precisely. Leadership with a real measurable impact. Okay, shifting slightly, but related. Question 5 zeroes in on the data itself. The absolute integrity of the information. How do you ensure the accuracy and completeness of billing data?
Yeah, errors here seem like they could be disastrous, financially, compliance-wise.
Absolutely disastrous. The data is the bedrock. Errors are incredibly costly, can lead to audits, all sorts of problems.
Yep.
So the article outlines a very systematic approach.
Like what?
Things like implementing strict quality control measures, doing regular reviews and audits of the data, setting up clear standard procedures for how data gets entered and checked.
Protocols.
Right, protocols. And then providing ongoing training so the team actually knows and follows these procedures consistently. And also using software tools designed to automatically spot or flag potential errors or inconsistencies.
So it's not just hoping for the best. It's about building multiple layers of checks and balances right into the system. It needs a really meticulous, process-focused mindset, preventing errors, not just catching them later.
Exactly. Yeah. Like preventative data hygiene. Okay, last question, number 6. This one brings in the human element beyond just the internal team. It's about dealing with patients, maybe providers, others with questions or problems. The question is, how do you handle and resolve customer complaints?
So the role isn't just inward-facing. There's an external customer service component, too.
Definitely. And handling complaints well is crucial, for patient satisfaction, maintaining good relationships with doctors or clinics, and just the overall reputation of the organization.
So what's the recommended way to handle those?
According to the article, step 1 is active listening. Really try to understand the complaint fully, from their perspective.
Ethical first.
Right. Then, taking ownership, making it clear you're going to handle it, then working quickly to figure out what happened, gather the info, and find a solution. And crucially, keeping the customer informed along the way.
Communication is key.
Yeah, and making sure the resolution actually works for them, that they're satisfied. And just like with the claim denials, the article loops back to that idea of using complaints as valuable feedback.
How so?
As an opportunity to spot and fix any systemic issues that might be causing those complaints repeatedly.
There it is again. Root cause analysis. So it's not just about making one unhappy person feel better.
Though that's important.
Right, but it's also about asking why they were unhappy in the first place and fixing the underlying problem so it doesn't keep happening. That's a powerful combination. Communication skills plus that analytical process improvement drive.
It really is. So, when you pull all 6 of these questions together, the article paints a really comprehensive picture of this medical billing supervisor role. You need the tech skills, sure.
The software fluency.
Right.
Right.
But also that sharp problem solving for denials and data glitches. A real commitment to keeping up with changes, learning constantly. Strong leadership that gets results and develops people. A super careful, systematic approach to making sure the data is right.
Right.
And then handling those tricky customer interactions with empathy, but also that analytical mindset.
Yeah, what really stands out from the suggested answers is that it's not just about doing the tasks, it's about understanding the why. It's about spotting those deeper systemic problems.
Exactly.
And always thinking about how to make things work better, more efficiently, prevent future issues, whether it's data, claims, how the team works, or how you handle complaints.
Which, brings up a really interesting final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on. We've just unpacked all these skills needed for a medical billing supervisor, analyzing data, troubleshooting systems, leading teams, navigating complex rules, using feedback for improvement.
Yeah, pretty diverse skill set.
Right. So the question is, How are these specific skills becoming more and more valuable, not just in healthcare, but maybe across lots of different industries?
That's a great point. Think about it. What other jobs, maybe in finance or tech operations or even managing customer service teams elsewhere, what other roles need that same kind of mix, that blend of really detailed technical work, tight process management, and, effective people skills and problem solving?
Yeah, the core principles here, effective supervision, operational excellence, data integrity, continuous improvement, they seem pretty transferable, don't they? Something to think about.